Is there anybody in here right now who's willing to be honest, who feels a little bit uncomfortable? Okay. I guarantee you, if we kept following it down the line, we would find that there's something on your heart screen that's making you uncomfortable. One time I was in my house, and we opened up one drawer, and Hope about jumped through the ceiling. And I looked over, and I didn't respond at all. You know what it was? It was Harry's rubber snake. And then in that same day, a few minutes later, Hope looked over and said, "Oh, I just love that." And I looked over and started to cry because she was looking at a rose, and the last one I'd seen was on my mother's casket. The problem with all this is that 99+% of everything in here, you don't have the first clue. And that's why people get program after program, pill after pill, self-help after self-help. And by the way, there's a 97% failure rate in the self-help industry. And they find themselves 40 years down the road having spent tens of thousands of dollars and still have their same problems or worse. They say, what was all that about? And then usually they give up and die. But it doesn't have to be that way. Okay. If there's fear, I knew that was going to happen. On this screen, that means there's also darkness on the screen. Okay? And so something happens, an event happens, any event. Traffic, you bite into a sandwich that's not as good as you hoped. Somebody looks at you funny. Person next to you is wearing perfume you don't like. Million things. An event happens. According to Dr. Bruce Lipton from Stanford, it comes in through the eyes and the other senses too, but it primarily, all data, remember, is encoded as images. So even things we hear and smell and taste are encoded as images and recalled as images. Okay? You know, it just makes sense. It's the universal language. You know, I wouldn't have to walk far at all from right where we are to find somebody that I couldn't communicate with by words. Right? But I can go anywhere in the world and communicate with pictures. Right? Or you know, right? So that's how God made us. Is that the way we're programmed is with the universal language that is all at the speed of light. What is it? 286,000 miles per second? Something like that? Okay? We operate at the speed of light. If it was based on words, couldn't do that. Right? Words take much longer. All right? So an event happens, it comes in through the eyes, and is transformed into an image, even if it's all 5 of the senses. And then it goes down to the database of images, according to Dr. Lipton at Stanford Medical School, where it's compared to our database of images to determine what the response will be. So Hope saw the rubber snake, and I saw it too. It just didn't scare me. Okay? So we looked at the same thing, and she had a negative picture on her heart screen as soon as she looked at it. She had fear and darkness. I didn't. On my heart screen, when I looked at that rubber snake, was love and light. Okay? So I was fine. Now I looked at the rows, and I had a whole bunch of stuff. I had some love, remembered my mom. I had some fear, which means there were some places in there with darkness and some with light. It was mixed. And I had a mixed response. Okay? And that will immediately determine the physiology of my body. So I may feel sweaty. I may feel a headache. Okay? But when this stuff starts happening, don't think, well, what's the physical thing going on? No, I mean, there's a physical component, but it all comes from here. Every bit of it. Okay? So, if you need to take the Tylenol, go ahead, but while you're taking it, start working on this stuff. Okay? You with me? Okay. So, fear is manifested as every negative thing you've ever experienced in your life. Okay? Anger is when the thing that you were afraid of is happening right now. Anxiety and worry is based in the future, when the thing you fear is in the future. Sadness and depression is when the thing that you fear has already happened and you believe it's a done deal. I can't undo it. It's already happened. And that's where the hopelessness and helplessness comes from. Unforgiveness is a fear that something is not right. It's based in fear that something is not right and can't be made right or might not be made right. Rejection is a fear that you are not going to love me no matter what I do. Nothing I can do about it. That's not going to happen. That you're going to reject me if I don't act right. Hope and I have been talking for the last several days how she's had this, can I share that? She's had this, that's kind of cool. I usually don't have to ask. But how she's had this thing all her life because of her programming growing up that she has to be a good girl. And a good girl causes that I have to be a good girl causes her to always try to be something that she's not necessarily feeling and comply with something that's not really her. Okay, you tell me, is that fear and darkness or light and love? It's fear and darkness. That's right. And so it will put continual stress on her body until the weak link breaks and she gets depressed. And how come for 12 years she could not get undepressed no matter what she did? Because she couldn't fix those. And so in the same circumstances, the same images showed up on the screen, and 99% of the time with her, and I guarantee you this is true because I lived with her, they were fear and darkness. So she's depressed, she's anxiety, she's fear, she walks into a room of people. I mean, a number of years ago, guys, before we started, some of you weren't in here, but before we started, she was down here meeting and talking to people and all that stuff, right? Did some of you talk to her? Raise your hand if you talked to her. Did she seem terrified to talk to you? She would have a few years ago. Well, no, she wouldn't. She would not have come in here. Okay? Or she would have with just, oh, I don't want to do this. I mean, that kind of thing. Because of what was on her heart screen. Okay, now, guys, this is not a metaphor. The heart screen is not a metaphor. Do you understand that? This is real. This is inside you right now. And is this standard medicine or alternative? It's neither one. It's spiritual. The heart screen is spiritual. You know how I know? Science can't find it. What I call the image maker, because my spiritual mentor Larry Napier taught me about the image maker, what I call the image maker is how everything that exists came into being. Okay? Does an architect just go out and start building? No. Does a contractor just go out and start digging a hole? No. They image it first. They see it in here. They really see it in here. And then they put it on paper. And then they go out and they create it. And that's true with everything. It's true with my Levi's jeans. It's true with this piece of chalk. It's true with the camera. It's true with the blackboard. It's true with the lights. Edison saw it before he created it. Albert Einstein. Oh, I love this. Thanks, Albert. Albert Einstein said that the theory of relativity, mathematics, and energy were not his greatest discoveries. Do you know that? He said this was the greatest one. The imagination is more powerful and important than knowledge. And it's how he made every discovery that he made. I call it the image maker because imagination conveys the wrong connotation, like daydreaming. This is not daydreaming. This is how all creation happens on planet Earth and in your life. Before you can go to the bathroom, you see going to the bathroom here. If you don't see going to the bathroom here, you can't go to the bathroom. Sorry to use that particular example. Just kind of slipped out. Then, once you're halfway through it, it's hard to back up. Antonio Damasio, PhD, MD, chairman of the Neuro Department at the University of Southern California, who's being mentioned in the same sentence with Nobel Prize a lot these days, says that imageless thought is impossible. Every thought comes from an image. Now, science can find everything else in our body. They can find how the hormones work, they can find how the blood works, how the organs work, how the systems work, how we think. They can even see what parts of your brain light up when you're doing different things and thinking and dreaming different things. They cannot find the screen that allows us to imagine. They cannot find it. They never will find it because it's in the spiritual realm. Why? Because it's in the heart. And the heart is the container for the spirit. just as the body is the container for the soul. And we're not going to get too much into that tonight. Maybe another time. Okay. So, if I'm stressed, if I'm experiencing anger, fear, anxiety, worry, sadness, cancer, diabetes, MS, heart disease, stroke, my hair's falling out, I've got poison ivy, I've got rashes, I've got fill in the blank. When I have something going on in my life, it's because I have a picture in my heart that is being active on my heart screen in my heart, in my un- and subconscious mind, plus some other things, that is fear and darkness based, which goes over here and causes the hypothalamus to flip the stress switch on, and I break at my weakest link, and then I blame it on whatever is going on in the external circumstances of my world. So I get mad in traffic, and I blame it on the traffic gods, or on the guy in front of me. Or I go into Kroger and they don't have my brand, and I blame it on Kroger. It starts raining on the way to Kroger, and I know I'm going to get wet, and I get mad again and blame it on something else. Something else goes wrong, and I blame it on Hope. Something else goes wrong, and I blame it on Harry. Something else goes wrong, and I blame it on the United States government. And for most of us, we never think, oh, you know what? I think I may know what it is. I've got a picture in my spiritual heart that's being reactivated by something that's going on, and it's causing fear and darkness on my heart screen, which is causing my hypothalamus to turn my stress switch on. And then my weakest link is that I'm angry or tired, or you think that way, right? You need to think that way, because the truth will make you free. In the same way that falsehood has put you in bondage. The problem in every one of these images in my heart, that where there is a problem, is falsehood. Everyone, no exception. The falsehood is expressed physically as darkness. And so whenever anything happens in my world that my heart decides might the slightest little bit be related to that, it throws it up on the heart screen. And instantaneously, I start experiencing what I experienced the original time that happened. But I think it's about what's going on in my external circumstances. And so I reach for the Tylenol instead of going to work spiritually on this issue, if I can find it. Okay? All right. So, what do we do? Well, it's really not that complicated. The antidote for darkness and fear, remember what was on this hand? Is love and light. Not metaphorically. For most of my life, I thought it was metaphorically. It's not metaphorically. It's real. Okay. So, let's get practical. Last time I did this demonstration, which we'll do in a minute, it was a gentleman who brought two people up. One was a gentleman with knee pain. The other one was a lady who had cancer and had some severe anxiety, fear, and discomfort related to the cancer. Okay? So I brought them up on stage, and I asked the gentleman first, I said, okay, how do you think about your knee pain? You know, when your knee hurts. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, when your knee hurts, what do you think? You know, his eyes start moving around as he's processing. He said, well, I think, oh, shoot, doggone it. I hate this. What's wrong with my knee? Oh, this is just going to keep getting worse and worse. Why does this have to happen to me? How did this start anyway? He said, sometimes I literally feel like taking my fist and just, because it makes me so mad and I'm so frustrated, okay? And this was a really nice guy, okay? I said, okay, what do you feel? He said, I feel angry, I feel irritated, I feel frustrated, I feel afraid that if this keeps going on longer, I'm either going to have surgery or I'm not going to be able to be very mobile, and I mean on and on and on, okay? And so I said, okay, well, the way you've been acting towards your knee, has it helped? What do you mean, has it helped? Has it helped? Has your knee gotten better, or has it gotten worse? Oh, it's getting worse. It's been getting worse for years, and it's still getting worse. Okay, so being angry at it hasn't made it better. Is that right? Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. And it was looking at me kind of like I was an idiot at about that time, you know. I said, okay, well, let me ask you another question. All that stuff that you said is how you've been acting and feeling toward your knee. What if there was a really precious, sweet little 5-year-old girl who was feeling all of that same stuff that you're feeling because she had just maybe bumped her knee and hurt it or something? And there was no one else around, and she was right over here just bawling her eyes out. And she was angry and afraid and in pain and all that kind of stuff. How would you act toward her the way you've been acting toward your own knee? What do you say? No. Well, how would you act toward the 5-year-old little girl? And it was so cool. He got down on his knees. And he said, oh, you know, as soon as you said that, it reminded me of my little granddaughter. And I said, I'd get down on my knees. And I said, oh, honey, it's okay. It's all right. I love you. And here, come here. I'm going to take care of you. And it's going to be all right. And you know what? That bump's going to get better. And right? I mean, is that kind of what you guys would do if there was a 5-year-old girl there that was really upset, you were the only one? Right? Well, how come? So I said, well, how come you would treat her that way, but you would treat your knee in this really terrible way? Well, here's what he said. Because if I treated her that way, it'd make it worse. Oh, really? I said, can you please say that again? And he got it. He said, yeah, okay, I get it. So I said, okay, what if it What if it was a dog? Would you treat a dog in love and kindness? I mean, assuming it's not attacking you. Would you treat a nice, friendly dog in love and kindness or in anger and unkindness? Oh, love and kindness. All right. How about a bunny rabbit? Love and kindness. How about a rose? Love and kindness or unkindness and anger? Oh, love and kindness. Okay. Could we say this? Could we say that anything living that you feel it's appropriate and better to treat it in love and kindness rather than in unkindness and anger or fear? Anything living. Yeah, I can go with that. Okay. Is your knee living? Are the cells in your knee alive? Answer, are they? Yes. Well, let's hope they are. Yes, they are. The cells in your knee are alive. Isn't that cool? Isn't that wonderful? They're alive. Okay, let me ask you another question. As bad as your knee hurts, do you think that your body has done the best it could under the circumstances? Or do you think your body is just laid on the couch all day and said, I'll let him hurt? Which one? It's done the best it could under the circumstances. All right? Okay, so how much does your knee pain hurt right now? He was 8 or 9. How much is your anxiety, fear, worry related to your knee pain right now? It was 9 or 10. Okay? I said, okay, I want you to do something that's going to seem really silly. Okay? And by this time we were kind of being friends, I think. I said, I want you to treat your knee like the 5-year-old little girl. I want you to love your knee. I want you to accept your knee just the way it is. I want you to approve of your knee and the pain. I want you to be thankful for your knee. Etc., etc. And I want you to do that for 3 minutes. Okay? So he started, feeling rather silly. Knee, I like you. Knee, you're a good knee, you know. And then he started to get into it more. And by the end of it, you know, I love you. I love you. I know you've done the best you could. I have really put you through some stuff over the years. And I love you. I accept you. I appreciate you. I am thankful for you. I'm grateful for you. For 3 minutes. Okay? All right? Now, give the knee pain and your anxiety, fear, worry permission to go. Thank you so much. You have done a great job. You've done the best job you could do. I love you, but you know what? I'm okay. I've got God, I've got my wife, I've got my boys. I'm okay. So thank you. Thank you for trying to help me as best you can. I give you permission to go. Thank you. I said, okay, where's your anxiety, fear, worry about your knee? Where do you think it was? It was 1, 0, something like that. How's your knee pain? Think it went up or down or stayed the same? went way down. You know why? Light, love, fear, darkness. He had fear and darkness over his knee. He had a picture here that was, it's only going to get worse. This is going to happen, that's going to happen. Oh, it's terrible, blah, 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 blah. That picture came over here, activated his heart screen with fear and darkness, went to his hypothalamus, put his body into stress on his weakest link. Well, where was his weakest link? His knee. So those thoughts that he was having and feelings and the way he was acting toward his knee, every second he was doing it, he was making it worse because he was putting more fear and more darkness into the knee. Okay. So when he started loving his knee, what happened? When you say, I love you, I'm grateful for you, I thank you, I appreciate you, I know you're just trying to help me, on and on and on. Man, that is lighting up your heart like a Christmas tree with light and love. And it's activating millions and millions and millions of memories that are love-based memories and creating new ones. And those come over here. Wrong side. And do this. And then that goes to the hypothalamus, turns the stress switch off, and my immune and healing systems start to heal whatever needs to be healed. Let me ask you a question. You go into a completely dark room. Close your eyes and picture that. Completely dark room. Can you take the lights out? Maybe not. Completely dark room. See what that feels like? We've all been in there a million times, okay? Now, you decide, I want light. So you flip on the light switch. Yeah, there we go, thank you. So you flip on the light switch. Turn them back up, please. Thank you. Open your eyes. And it lights up every corner of the room, right? Question. Where did the dark go?
The dark is an absence of something.
You ever thought about that? Where did the dark go? Because energy is never destroyed, right? It just changes forms. Where did the dark go? The correct answer is it no longer exists. When you turn on the light, the darkness is transformed into light, and the darkness no longer exists. Only the light. So, yes, the gentleman with the knee pain may have taken a good while until his knee was completely healed, because bone and blood and tissue has to change, right? But the source of it can be changed at the speed of light, 286,000 miles per second, because it only exists at its source as an energy pattern. Our memories are not flesh and blood and bone and tissue. They've cut out every part of the brain and the body, and memories are still there. Our memories only exist as an energy pattern. You know how to change an energy pattern? You know how to change this energy pattern? You hit it with another energy pattern. And when you do that, you come out with a new pattern that now can be completely light without the darkness. Well, if we do that and we get rid of the darkness, what have we also gotten rid of? Because they're the flip sides of the same thing. Fear. We've also gotten rid of the fear. When we get rid of the darkness and the fear, there's going to be light, because energy is never destroyed. It changes forms. Okay?